What's up, guys? It's Devon from Neptune Design, and I've got a special surprise for you today. We're going to talk all about SKAG campaigns. Now, for all of you guys that think SKAG is a dirty word, it's not, I promise you that. It just stands for single keyword ad groups. And we're going to talk about building these campaigns, why you should build one in 2022, and some of the best and fastest ways to build them. So I've got a special guest here today. I've got Lars Larsen from Campaign Easy. So Lars, say hello.
Hi there, Devon. Thanks for having me.
No problem, my friend. How are you today?
Very well, thanks.
Really
looking forward to talking to you about SKAGs.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely, man. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today because I've been looking for a tool for single keyword ad groups for a very long time. I remember doing these training sessions with my students in Canada and my students in England, and I used to have to take them through like a Google sheet, and we used to have to build the campaigns like one by one. So I'm really privileged to have you on the show today. So before we get into all of that, tell me how this software how it came about, and also tell me what you made it for.
Yeah, so the idea behind the software was to kind of automate the campaign building process by combining kind of the features of templates, but also with some ability to do some kind of like mass customization. So the tool itself doesn't really focus on SKAGs only. It's kind of up to the user to define the structure, but it's one of the use cases for Campaign Easy is definitely single keyword ad groups, and that makes building these types of campaigns super effective and very easy, as I'll show you when we get into the tool.
Okay, so and tell me, like, how did you come up with the idea? Were you just like having a cup of coffee one day with a friend and you were like, I think we could build a cool tool about that. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so initially I actually built I built kind of some of the logic in Google Sheets with some JavaScript. There was like a scripting function in Google Sheets, but that wasn't really scalable. I wanted something that was kind of available as a web app online. So what I did was I looked into some of the coding tools that were out there, and I saw that a framework called Vue.js was quite easy to work with, and I kind of matched the way I thought and think in terms of the structure of the code. So I basically kind of converted the code I had written in Sheets into this Vue.js app, and it kind of just grew kind of organically. So in the beginning it was very, very basic, and now it's kind of has some more bells and whistles as I've gotten better.
I have to ask this question. Did you find yourself building SKAG campaigns the old way when you started out, and did you find that it just took too much time and you got frustrated with that? Or
yeah, I mean, Excel and Sheets obviously is the go-to tool, I think, for many agencies and freelancers still, and obviously it has lots of benefits because Google Sheets and Excel is an amazing platform in terms of all the functionality it includes. But yeah, so the idea behind the tool was to kind of take the heavy lifting out of building the SKAGs, and also to kind of remove some of the complexity of having to work with Google Sheets, because not everybody is like kind of good with Excel. So what this
like
tool
me,
does is it kind
I'm
of
not a Google Sheets person. Lord, I am not a Google Sheets person, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of focuses on a specific use case for Sheets and kind of makes that more approachable. At least that's what we hope.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that are watching this and you're still trying to scratch your head and trying to figure out why, what single keyword ad groups are, what SKAGs are, and why they're important. So basically, this is what happens in Google Ads sometimes is you build a campaign, you put a whole bunch of keywords in that campaign, but that campaign doesn't really match your messaging, especially in your ad. So for example, if you were building a campaign for a bike shop and you've got a few keywords over there, you might find that one of your keyword doesn't exactly match your ad. And one of the powerful things that you can do with SKAG campaigns, and although the software has lots of different functionalities other than SKAG campaigns, I'm just going to focus on SKAG campaigns, is with a SKAG campaign, you can basically put one keyword in one group, connect it to one ad, and you can have one of the highest click-through rates that you can with Google Ads, because everything is relevant. Remember, Google Ads will always base your quality score, your landing page score, and also your ad rank on how relevant your ad is, and obviously how much you're willing to pay for a click, but that's a whole subject for a whole nother day. But you want to make sure that your ads are as relevant as possible, because let's say, for example, if you're selling 3 or 4 products and your ad doesn't really match the page that you're sending the client to, that's not going to be relevant, and Google will actually penalize you for that. And that's why single keyword ad groups are important, especially if you are somebody who wants to get the maximum potential out of your ads, especially if you're somebody who doesn't have that much budget to spend, but you really want to stretch your budget as far as possible. And Lars, you can feel free to add any advantages of SKAGs if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with the word relevance. I mean, at the end of the day, Google rewards relevance. And one way of ensuring relevance is with SKAGs, because you have complete control over the ad, the keyword, obviously, and the landing page. One of the other benefits is also kind of if you work with negative keywords, if you have many or multiple keywords in a single ad group, it might be difficult to kind of do negative keyword management, because some keywords might be relevant for some, or some search terms might be relevant for some keywords, but not for others. So there's also a benefit in terms of kind of managing the negative keyword side with SKAGs, because you can be far more precise in terms of which keywords to exclude or include in your campaigns.
Okay. All right. So that everybody's following us, basically what we're going to do in this video is we're going to show you how to build a cool SKAG campaign. And I promise you this, if it sounds complicated, if it sounds difficult, if it sounds a little bit too nerdy, we're going to make it very easy. And Lars is going to show us exactly how to do it with this cool software that he's made. So Lars, take it away.
Yes, I just need to share my screen here.
No problem. I've given you screen sharing permissions. I usually don't. I usually forget, but this time I remembered. All right, cool. So I can see your screen right now. What are we in? What section of the software are we in right now?
Yeah, so this is the campaign builder section, and it's built up around first and foremost the client. So every time, or if you get a new client, you create a new client, and then you have the option to create a data table, and then templates, ad templates, campaign templates, and extension templates. But the most important part of Campaign Easy will be the data table, because this is where we kind of get all our keyword data that gets used for our campaigns and our ads. So I have here an example of a dentist, where we have a few different types of services, as you can see here: root canal, wisdom tooth removal, teeth whitening, etc. And the idea here is to create a campaign for each of these services, and to create kind of the best and most relevant keywords and ads kind of quickly and at scale. So once we've defined our keywords, the next step is to move on to defining our campaign templates, which I've done here. So in this case, I want to namespace my campaigns. So for example, I choose the word treatments, and then I decide what my which keyword I want to insert into the campaign name. And as you can see here, I have a variable called root, and this variable refers to the root column in the data table. So what happens here is when we generate the campaigns and the keywords, this will dynamically update with the value from the table.
That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool.
So then once we've defined our campaign names, we can then define our ad group names. So for example, in this case, let's say I want to run phrase and exact ad groups. So what I've done here is I've chosen the match type variable, which refers to the match type in the keywords. So for example, if I added a third match type, let's say I added a broad match type, then I would expect 3 ad groups per campaign. But in this case, we'll just run with the phrase and exact. So now I've defined my campaign templates, and I'm pretty much good to go. So what I do now is I select the rows I want to generate. So I want.
Sorry, I just want to pause.
Yeah.
I just want to stop you there for a second, Lars. If you just scroll down to the bottom, for you guys who don't know phrase and exact match, basically Your phrase match keywords is when Google will look for a certain term that's in your keywords. For example, if somebody searches for a bicycle shop near me, if that phrase bicycle shop is in that keyword, then Google will basically show your ads. If it's exact, that customer has to type in that exact keyword for your ad to show up. So they can only type bicycle shop. They can't type bicycle shop near me or bicycle shop Vancouver. It literally has to be that exact keyword. Continue, Lars.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, Google has become a bit more kind of what's the
Loose.
word? Loose. Yeah, exactly. With exact, but yeah, it's exactly what you say. It's a question about precision in terms of the which keywords you get found on, or which search terms you get found on.
Yeah.
Yes. So now we've defined which services we want to run. So now I simply click generate keywords, and now we can see here that the campaign structure has been generated.
Wow.
So yeah, that's pretty quick. So now I can simply say copy keywords, and then I find my Google Ads editor, and then I can copy paste directly into Campaign Easy.
Fantastic.
And
for those of you who've never used Google Ads Editor there before, sorry to interrupt you, Lars. Google Ads Editor, you can think about it like just basically, it's Google Ads, but it's an app for your PC. The only difference between Google Ads Editor, or the best difference between Google Ads Editor, is you can make massive changes to a whole bunch of ads all at once. And typically when you're working for an agency, or typically when you're working with speed in mind, you want to do as much in as little time as possible. So if you're running a small budget, chances are you will have an hour or two to spend on your keywords and stuff like that. But when you start running multiple campaigns and you start having all of these things that you're managing at the same time, Google Ads Editor can really shorten the time it takes for you to do stuff. Like you could literally update all of your keywords and add a keyword to every single one of your campaign with the click of a button in Google Ads Editor, whereby if you use the normal Google Ads interface, you know, the part where you just log in on your browser, it would take you, I don't know, it would take you probably 17 minutes to just go back and forth through the screens and copy paste. This is the cool thing about Google Ads Editor. So what Lars is doing right now is he's basically built a feed. He's copied that onto his clipboard, and now what he's doing is he's creating campaigns using that feed straight away.
Exactly. And like as you said, the big benefit of the editor is that you can also work offline and do these bulk imports. And then once you're happy with the changes, you can upload to Google Ads. So there's also, it allows you to kind of work faster offline, kind of make any changes or updates to the campaigns that you want to before pushing to the interface.
That's fantastic. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
So as you can see here, we've created 5 campaigns, 10 ad groups, and 10 keywords. And if we go and look at the complete structure here, we can see that we have each of our campaigns created for each service. And if we go into each of these campaigns, we can see an ad group, and each ad group has a keyword in phrase and exact. And this is again. So now if we go back to Campaign Easy, we can see one of the benefits of this template-based approach. Let's say now that I want to add a new kind of pattern to my campaign structure. Right. And let's say I have a keyword that's called, let's say I'm only interested in the best service. So now I can add a keyword to my template. And let's say I only want this one to be an exact. I can then select this individual keyword, and I can generate the output. And now I have
best.
And now I have the keywords generated, and I can copy and paste these back into the
editor. If you look under keywords, you can see there it says best root canal, best wisdom tooth removal. So basically, he's just dynamically inserted that keyword into all of those ads without having to basically go in. And guys, when I tell you that this is a headache when you try and do this with an Excel sheet, it's really man, I remember trying this out, and I said to one of my students, you know, I love the concept of SKAGs. I always want to implement SKAGs into my workflow. I know they work, I know they're powerful, but I just don't have the 2 hours to just set them up, and I also don't have the 2 hours to just manage them. Like if you want to add something quickly, or if you want to change something quickly, this is really the thing that puts a lot of people off of using SKAG campaigns.
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot of at least in the beginning, can be a lot of work in terms of building and maintaining. But with this approach, with the templates and Campaign Easy, it becomes kind of much more simple, because in essence, you only have one campaign, because you manage one template. And if the template is good, then adding and removing or adding and updating keywords is kind of trivial.
Okay, that's super cool. That's super clear. That's super awesome.
So now the next step, once we have the keywords, is to generate the ads. And this is also where kind of Campaign Easy kind of comes into its own.
Okay.
So once we've generated the keywords, so I'll generate these keywords again. So now we have the campaign and the account structure. The next step now is to generate the ads. And this is also similar to the campaigns. This is all template based. So what we have here is a predefined template for the ads. And this is the RSA templates which you can create. And as you can see here, we have some templates where we can add headlines, descriptions. You can add as many headlines.
And when they say RSA template, they're not talking about the Republic of South Africa. We're talking about responsive search ads, people. So that's what RSA stands for. All right.
Yes. And the way we work with fallbacks or ad templates in Campaign Easy is we have these this fallback system. So we're able to create highly relevant ads regardless of how short or long our data table keywords are. Okay. So in this case, you can see here that the fallback is yellow. And the reason it's yellow is because not all of our keywords can match the template. And as you can see, if we go down here, we can see there's an issue here with one of the paths, which is too long. So the solution to this is to create a fallback, which I've done here. Yeah. And then update that field that is too long. So here I've removed the path variables, and now you can see that all the ads, 5 out of 5, sorry, all the rows in the table get a good ad.
Okay, so basically what you can do is if your descriptions are too long or if your headlines are too long, you just write shorter ones as fallbacks, and you know that they might not see best dentist in Oregon for your teeth, but they'll still see best dentist in Oregon. And then you know that you haven't just wasted all of your time creating this template. You at least have a fallback to go to.
Exactly. And what you can also do is once you add it with the ad preview
that's
function,
cool. That is super cool. Now that is cool. It gives you a little preview.
Exactly. So now you can kind of see what the ads look like, and you can kind of make changes on the fly, and we can quickly scroll through the table here and see what the ads will look like.
I've wasted my entire life, Lars, man. I've wasted my entire life. I was doing things the hard way, man. Look at that. They even give you, that is cool. That is cool. Yeah. Anyway, so, continue.
So this is one of the other benefits of Campaign Easy is it combines or it matches the keywords with the ad groups and the ads, and this way there is this, as you talked about, the relevance between the keyword and the ad and the landing page. And in particular, when we talk single keyword ad groups or SKAGs, that this is kind of like a no-brainer. So here we have highly relevant ads where we have the keyword in the headline. We have it perhaps also in the description, and we have it in the path if it's not too long. So we ensure relevance throughout the ad and kind of coherence between the landing page, the keyword, and the ad.
Yeah.
So now we're happy with the ads. So we just say generate ads, and now I have my output. And again, I just copy paste this into my editor. And now I have 10 ads. I have one ad for each ad group. And if we go to the ads, we can now see that the ads are highly relevant, and each of the ads matches with the appropriate campaign and ad groups.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And that's and that's basically the So you can see here as well, if you look at the ads at the labels which we added, you can see that most of the ads here, they have the first fallback. You can see fallback 1, the label, whereas this one here, wisdom tooth removal, that was too long, and that used the fallback.
Fallback 2.
And therefore, exactly. So now we have the ads in place, and we have the keywords in place. So now you basically done the heavy lifting in terms of building your Google Ads campaigns.
Yeah.
Another cool feature of Campaign Easy that kind of also allows you to kind of scale things is we actually combine the best of both worlds. So we have both Campaign Easy, and then we also have an ability to link to Google Sheets. So if you are good at Excel, if you have lots of data you want to process, you can link it directly. So this data table is actually linked to a Google Sheet, which I have over here.
Wow.
So let's say I suddenly get like a whole bunch of new services I want to expand to. I can just I can just add them, and then I can very quickly just download the data. And now I have, instead of 5, I now have 15. As you can see, 15 rows, each one corresponding to the runs in my Google Sheet. And this is a two-way sync. So let's say, for example, obviously I only want the 5, but I can remove the ones I don't need. So I'll just revert back to my initial 5. So I delete these, and then I say upload data.
So it automatically, well, you have to tell it, but it automatically will update the sheet.
Exactly. So
Fantastic.
it's a two-way sync. Yeah. And this is very useful when it comes to, for example, in particular the ads. So, for example, as you can see here, what I've done here is I have a root keyword or column where I have my keywords in proper case, and I have a modifier where I have them in lowercase.
Lowercase.
And this is great. Yeah, and this is great for example, the ads. So I might want a headline where I have uppercase, but in my descriptions I want lowercase. You can also add, for example, different types of categories, which you can also use in your ads as you need to. So it gives you a bit of kind of, like we talked about, this mass customization, and allows you to leverage the functionality of Google Sheets. So, for example, in this case, let's say I wanted to do like a quick formula. So I wanted this to all be lowercase. I just say lower, and now I have all the keywords updated into lowercase. And of course, Google Sheets has many functions. So by leveraging the functionality of Google Sheets, you're able to kind of supercharge your Google Ads workflow with Campaign Easy.
That is cool. And what I like about it is you didn't build a tool whereby you're trying to basically lock out the rest of the world and get them to only use your tool. You're using the existing tools that digital marketers are using already in their business. And that is super cool. That is super cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Google Sheets and Excel are basically like probably the biggest platform for building Google Ads campaigns. So this simply makes it kind of quicker and more easier, hopefully.
Yeah. So Lars, if somebody was watching this video right now and saying, I want to use Campaign Easy, but I'm afraid that I might not know what all of this stuff means, or I'm afraid that, like, if I get lost or stuck in this dashboard, how are you guys helping people who are new to the software, maybe even new to single keyword ad groups? How are you guys helping them like figure out the software as fast as possible so they can use it in their accounts and get results as fast as possible? Yeah,
so we have an onboarding flow. So if you sign up for Campaign Easy, you can book a
You forgot one W over there.
So you can book a meeting with me, an onboarding meeting for free, where I will go through the tool with you and answer any questions you might have. And if you use the code Neptune from Devon, then you get 50% off your first month.
Woohoo! Say thank you, Devon. Everybody in the comment section right now, just write, thank you, Devon. Thank you so much, Devon, because you see, I'm providing value and I'm saving you guys money at the same time. We put the link in the description below. And it's cool that they actually get to talk to you, Lars.
Exactly. So what you can do is you can book a 30-minute onboarding call. You simply choose a date that suits you and a time. And then what you can do is you can just in the description here, just include the code Neptune, and then I will know that you've come from Devon, and you'll get 50% off your first month. And then once that's booked, then we have a 30-minute onboarding call, and of course there is support as well if you need it afterwards. We also have some tutorials or built-in guides in the tool. So, for example, if you need to figure out like how do I link Google Sheets, how do I work with a data table, how do I use the campaign builder, I've created some walkthroughs here, which kind of walk through each of the steps. So there should be a complete guide or tutorial built into the tool.
That's fantastic.
And of course, we also have some support here. So if you have any issues or questions, you can write to us, and we'll get back to you by email.
Yeah. And typically, would you say that how quickly do you think people usually get to know the system and stuff? Does it take like a week, 3 days? What are we talking about in terms of just learning the system?
I mean, I think you can easily be up and running within a few minutes even. I mean, I think the biggest thing is to understand how the templates work. I think many people kind of struggle sometimes with understanding how the link between the data tables and the templates. So I think once you understand that, then it's quite intuitive. And I'm pretty sure that if you book a demo meeting, we could probably do some campaign builds together, and then you should be able to get the hang of working with the tool.
Ah, that's fantastic. So you kind of like you're there to guide them with their first campaigns, and you basically help them basically figure out everything.
Exactly. I mean, I think many people can describe what they want to build, and then what I can do is I can kind of translate that into a template. And then once they have that kind of example, then I think most people are kind of good to go with using the tool.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Well, Lars, this has been a pretty cool explanation. Is there anything else about the tool that you want to share with us?
No, I think that's kind of the most important features, like this, the ability to link sheets, template-based campaign building, both for the keywords and the ads. It definitely saves us a lot of time, and hopefully it'll save you time as well if you decide to give it a shot.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Now, you can stop sharing your screen, and I'm just before we let you go, I just want to pick your brain a little bit. What do you think? I like asking people this.
Have you stopped sharing? Sorry, I think
I think you got to stop sharing.
Where do
top corner. At the
top corner.
Right on top, there's something that says stop share.
I need to find my in Zoom. Yeah. Let's see if I can find this.
Don't worry. We call this. We have a new name for this. My students on my coaching call. We call it Zoom anxiety. It's when you know how to do something and all of a sudden you're on a call and you don't know how to do it anymore.
Yeah, I'm used to Google Meets.
It's okay. It's okay. I can handle it from here. There we go.
Thanks.
No. All right. Well, rescued you. No problem.
Thanks.
So before I let you go, how are you feeling about Google Ads? How are you feeling about what they're doing? And what do you think the future of digital marketing is? Because I know that you work for an agency. I know that you work with a lot of different accounts, and you have this beautiful, diverse view, and you get to sample what's happening in every single market, in every single industry that you're involved in. So I think you could add a lot of context in the situation. Basically, what I'm asking is, in the next 2 or 3 years, do you think people should stay on Google Ads, or do you think platforms like TikTok, Facebook ads, maybe even AR ads will become more relevant? What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a business owner, you have to be channel agnostic. It's a question at the end of the day about ROI. So where do you get the best bang for your buck? I mean, Google is still one of the best channels when it comes to at least these kind of intent-based searches, because it's people do search, and Google is the king of search. So I think there will always be a place for Google. But of course, there are also changes in consumer behavior. I recently read about how people are, or at least young teenagers are doing search on TikTok as opposed to, for example, Google. So there's obviously challenges coming in terms of people's kind of their behavior. But Google is obviously I mean, the giant in the room in terms of search, and I don't see that kind of changing anytime soon. So yeah, I mean, as a marketer, obviously I'm interested in Google Ads, and we can see as well there what's happening is Google's also going more and more towards kind of the content with the new Performance Max, where they're kind of pushing the other inventory, primarily display and YouTube. I think one of the challenges when it comes to that is that it requires a lot of investment from small businesses. Like doing good content is not cheap. So if you want to kind of leverage these channels, you also have to invest in the resources.
Yeah.
And that's also why kind of text or search has always been such a good thing, because it's quite easy to write a good ad as opposed to creating a good video. That's way more time consuming.
Never mind the fact that not many people actually want to put their face on camera, or they kind of feel like video is too public for them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people marketing, they're just business owners and they want to get people to their website. They don't necessarily want to create a whole content empire for themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's the time commitment for doing search is so quick. Like if you know which keywords are relevant and you can put an ad together, then I mean, you basically can't beat Google Ads. I mean, the fact that you can get up and running with a campaign in a matter of minutes anywhere in the world is kind of amazing. I mean, it's this massive democratization of marketing, which previously was basically, yeah, impossible. You'd have to speak to a seller at a newspaper or call up
Or
call up
get
a
a
sales
flight
guy.
overseas, go meet with
Yeah.
some people, shake some hands so that they can show your ads. It's
Yeah.
amazing that you can actually do that. It really is. It really
Yeah.
is. Well, Lars, this has been an awesome conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, Lars from Campaign Easy, give him a round of applause because he's trying to save you money. Once again, I'm going to put the link down in the description below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, because I'm going to be dropping a few videos on single keyword ad groups as well. And I'm going to be building them with Campaign Easy as well. So make sure you're subscribed for that. But thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. And it was so nice to have you, man.
Thanks, Devon. Appreciate the time. Chat soon.
No stress. Cheers, man.
Bye.
Cheers, bye. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're wondering what to watch next, you can check out our optimization guide over here. It's really good, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a friend if you found value in this video. Till next time, peace.